Hi guys, and welcome to this video on how to do a regression line in Microsoft Excel. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of questions on what to do with your data, like once you have it. So hopefully you guys have been busy digging for your data. Well, the regression part is actually not that difficult. So I'm just going to make a video to show you because you may or may not have used Excel in order to do a regression. So if you haven't, then you'll want to watch this video in its entirety and then apply it to your data. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a list of my data values. Okay, so in your graph, you had years since 1980, and then you also had in the second column, and so I'm going to move this over here a bit because you can make these columns as wide as you want them. You had tuition cost. Okay, all right, so you may or may not be able to find the tuition that as far back as 1980. It just depends on the school, it depends on the country, and how much data that they keep. So what you may find is that a lot of people have seen data that actually starts like around 2000s, around 2000, 2007, 2005. So if that's as far back as you can go, then that's as far back as you go. The main thing is that you need to have 10 data points. Okay, so for my purposes, I'm just going to put in some data points that I may have found. So let's say that I found a value in 2001, then I found one in 2002, and then maybe I didn't find another one until 2006 for that university. Then I found something in 2007, 2010, or 2009, excuse me, 2010. Nope, that's not 2010. That is 2010. Okay, so then I found one in 2011. Maybe I found all of them after that, 2013. So let's see how many data points I have. It looks like I have 7, 2014, 2015. And perhaps you looked for next year for the 2015-2016 year, and so you found the cost for the expected cost for 2016. Most of the time, that data is already there because they know students are preparing to go to school. Actually, I have a 2011 here. Okay, so let's say that in 2001, I had tuition. I looked at the tuition, and the tuition cost was about let's say about $8,000. And let's say that in 2002, the tuition was $8,600. And then in 2006, we jump ahead a few years, the tuition is now $9,500. In 2007, it was $10,200. And then now we get to 2009, so we say 10,000, maybe it only went up $500. And these values are hypothetical just to show you an example. You actually are going to be using real data. So, and let's say in 2010, maybe it went to 11,500. Okay, so there's another increase in 2011. Okay, it's 13,000. In 2013, it's 16,000. In 2014, 16,700. In 2015, it was 17,000. And in 2016 is expected to be 19,500. Okay, so now I have my data. So I have at least 10 data points. And so it looks like I may have a little bit more. No, I have 10. Okay, so with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a scatter. So you can use Excel to create your scatter. Now, Excel will do the equation for you. However, the equation is not going to be a nice, pretty equation. I would recommend that you use Excel to graph your scatter so that you can put it in your scatter, so you can put it in your report, and that you use your graphing calculator, which I'll make another video to show you how to do that, in order to actually get the equation, an equation that actually makes sense to you. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to highlight the information that I want the scatter plot for. And then I'm going to go to Insert, and then I'm going to go pick Scatter, and you want the XY scatter. You want just the one with the dots. You don't want the lines to be connected. Okay, so it's just the scatter. And so what you can see is I have my data points plotted here. So I'm going to click on this, It could be linear, it could be exponential. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the data and find the values that fit best. Okay, so let's try a linear first. So you want to click on the points, and then you want to right click, and then you want to go to add trend line. So from here you can choose a linear, exponential, or if you want to do a polynomial, a quadratic. If it looks cubic, then you could do a cubic polynomial, but that probably won't happen. It'll usually be linear, exponential, or quadratic. It could be logarithmic, but probably not likely. Okay, so if that's the case, then in order to change the degree of the polynomial, then you would just put the order. So for instance, if it's a cubic, it would be 3. If it's a quadratic, it would be 2. So the first one I'm going to try is linear. I'm going to see how that linear scatter plot fits it. Okay, and then what I'm going to go here is to display my equation. And you don't want it to reset anything down here. So the only thing you need to do is select the type of trend line you want, and then display the equation. You can always change the trend line later, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go to close here, and so now you can see my trend line has appeared. Well, yes, there's a trend line going to the middle of my data, but it looks like my data is actually more curved than it is straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and choose the other trend line. So in this case, you want to click on the line, and you know that you have clicked on the line when you see the little dots here. So you see a white dot on each end. And so I'm going to right click after I select that, and then I'm going to go to format trend line. And so what that does is brings back up that box again, and so it's going to allow me to actually change the type of equation. So this time I'm going to try exponential, okay, and my show equation on chart is still selected. Okay, so we can see here that it looks more like an exponential. Excel doesn't really allow you to play with your data. It doesn't allow you to get as great of a trend line as your calculator will, and I'll show you the difference in the other video. And you can also see that I get some kind of funky equation. You guys probably don't even know what that is. Basically, it's 1 times 10 to the negative 47, and then it's e raised to the power of something. So we didn't talk about natural logs. So you can always take this equation and plug the numbers in. However, it's not going to make really any sense to you because, for one, the y-intercept is such a weird number, which is your a value, and then your base is actually e, which we didn't talk about. It's a set number. Okay, so you can find it by putting it in your calculator, but if you don't know how to do that, you probably don't want to deal with that. So since I don't like that equation, I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and I'm going to use the calculator trend line. This is good for actually putting the data in your report, especially if you want to include it in a Word document, because you're going to have to write a final report, and it's just a neater way to plot your graph. And it's quite difficult unless you have the software installed to get the graphs from your calculator. So this is fine for a report graph, but in order to actually get a proper equation, we're going to go to the Y editor, okay? And we're going to use your calculator. All right, so since I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. So as far as getting your data, this will be fine for the display aspect of it, but you won't use this for your equation. I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, you could, but it's not going to help you very much, and it's going to make your numbers really crazy. Okay, so just you will save this or copy it or paste it into like a Word document. You can do whatever. If you want to select the document, you can always paste it and insert it or whatever. So you can include it or make a screenshot of it to include it into your report, and that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to close out this video, and then you can watch the next video, and I'll show you how to actually do the regression in your calculator. Okay? All right, hope you enjoyed this video, and see you in the next one.